You're not tired, you're undisciplined, you're not unlucky, you're unprepared. You're not stuck, you're comfortable. And comfort is the coffin success gets buried in. Get up, suffer now, or suffer forever. There is no other way. You were lied to. From the moment you opened your eyes to this world, they told you life was about comfort, happiness, balance, self-care. But the truth? Life is about war. It's a mental war, spiritual war, a war for your time, your focus, your potential. And the worst part? Most men never even step onto the battlefield. They're too busy chasing distractions, numbing their minds, softening their edges, lying to themselves every single day that they'll start tomorrow, but that tomorrow never comes. Because a weak mindset doesn't understand urgency. A weak mindset lives in delay. If your mind folds when it's tired, when it's bored, when it's uninspired, then you've already lost. The world will eat you alive and you won't even realize it until you're 45, sitting in the same chair, scrolling the same apps, wondering why nothing ever changed. And let me make it crystal clear. Your feelings don't matter. Your discipline does. Motivation is not an emotion, it's a decision. You don't get to wait until you feel like it to become who you were born to be. That version of you, the focused, powerful, razor-sharp machine, is built when you act in direct opposition to your feelings. Your mind must be stronger than your feelings. That's not just a cool phrase. That's the difference between a man who rises and one who disappears. You cannot build greatness on the foundation of comfort. You can't achieve domination by following the path of least resistance. Every time you give in to weakness, every time you justify quitting, every time you say, I'm tired, you feed a version of yourself that is powerless. And the version of you that was built for war, for wealth, for strength, for glory, that man dies a little more every time you surrender. But here's the good news. This is what no one tells you. Your mind is a weapon. And like any weapon, it can be sharpened, reinforced, conditioned to cut through chaos. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you forge, one painful, deliberate action at a time. Every early morning where you get up when your body screams no, every workout when your muscles ache, every hour of focused work while the world parties, that's not suffering, that's self-respect, that's investment. That's how you take your mind from a passive bystander to a dominant force. You teach it to obey you. You command your mind, you don't let it command you. Once that flips, you become unstoppable. Man, you've been conditioned to avoid pain, to flinch, to seek ease. But here's the hard truth. They lied to you. Again, growth lives inside pain. There is no other route. Comfort is the cage. Pain is the door. And the second you understand that, the second you stop fearing it and start using it, you take back control. You stop running from adversity and start hunting it. Because you know that every challenge makes you sharper. Every failure is a lesson, and every sacrifice is fuel for the fire you're building inside. And when that fire grows, people notice. The world notices because now you walk differently. You speak with power. You carry purpose. You stop needing validation because you're too focused on domination. Most people don't even know what they want. That's why they wander through life lost, bitter, and weak. But I'm telling you, decide, set the goal so high it scares you. Then make a plan so real it demands sacrifice. And when that voice in your head whispers doubt, when your legs are heavy, when your mind begs for rest, you answer with action. That's how men are built. Not by books, not by fake inspiration, but by real, consistent suffering directed at a purpose. And the beauty of this, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. Show up when it's boring. Show up when it's raining. Show up when you don't want to. That's how average becomes elite. That's how potential becomes legacy. Don't look at men who have made it and assume they had it easier. They just chose not to listen to weakness. That's the only difference. They said no to the same temptations, the same distractions, the same excuses you're facing now, but they chose a mission over a mood. And that choice, every single day, is what builds mental armor. It's not about motivation that comes and goes. It's about obsession, purpose, refusing to live a life beneath your potential. You were not born to be ordinary. You were not created to blend in. You have inside you the capacity to outwork, outlast, and outfight every obstacle life throws at you, but only if your mind is disciplined enough to demand it. I mean, it's never too late. You haven't missed the boat, But every day you wait, you fall further behind. Every day you choose ease, someone else chooses effort. And one day you'll meet them and they'll be stronger, richer, sharper, and more dangerous. And they won't feel sorry for you. That should scare you. But more importantly, it should ignite you. You still have time to rise. You still have time to turn your name into something worth remembering. But only if you kill the weakness today. Only if you commit to war every morning. Only if you reject this poisoned world of comfort and start chasing discomfort like your future depends on it, because it does. There was a time I had nothing. No money, no fame, no security, just pressure, just noise. The world screaming at me that I wouldn't make it, that I was crazy for believing I was meant for more. I remember the nights so quiet you could hear your own failure echo in your chest. The room was cold, not because of the air, but because there was no certainty in anything. I'd wake up before the sun just to punch a clock at a job I hated, surrounded by people who accepted mediocrity like it was destiny. People whose minds were rotting from television, weak food, and weaker ambition. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, asking myself if this was it, if this was what life was meant to be. And somewhere deep down, a voice whispered, no, this isn't it. I wasn't born different. I wasn't gifted. I was just angry enough to change. I made a vow to myself in that room that I would never again allow the outside world to dictate the limits of my life. Success is always on the other side of discipline, and I decided that if I couldn't be talented, I'd be relentless. If I couldn't be lucky, I'd be precise. If the world wouldn't give me a chance, I'd take it by force. Stop waiting for permission. I stopped negotiating with my weakness. From that moment on, every hour had to count. If I wasn't working, I was learning. If I wasn't winning, I was preparing. There was no more escape, no more hoping, just doing. My mind had to evolve into a weapon because I had no backup plan. You either become the man or you live under the rule of men who did. I had people laugh at me. Friends mock me. Family worry I was losing it, but I knew something they didn't. Most people die before they ever live. They surrender their will to comfort. They obey their fear. They bow to routine and worship convenience. That was never going to be me. I could feel that rage in my stomach, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that builds, the kind that fuels legacy. Every time I was broke, I told myself, good, now there's nothing to lose. Every time someone doubted me, I used it as a scoreboard. Every sleepless night, I smiled because I knew most men would have quit already. And that meant I was winning. It was never about the cars or the watches or the penthouses. It was about conquering myself. That's the game. That's the war every man has to win. Your enemy isn't the economy or your boss or your past. It's the voice in your head that tells you to settle, to take a day off, to rest when there's still work to be done. You want peace? Earn it through war. You want strength? Build it through struggle. You want purpose? Bleed for it. I had to burn the old version of me to the ground. Not tweak him, not fix him, destroy him. Because he was built on weakness, on fear, on distraction. And you can't build a king on the bones of a coward. People think mindset is just a concept. Mindset is survival. When I was alone, when the money wasn't coming in, when the pressure was crushing, it was mindset that carried me. It was mindset that made me get up and train when I could barely breathe. It was mindset that made me smile while everyone else panicked. It was mindset that said, I'll either make it or die trying. And that mindset became muscle. That mindset became movement. That mindset built the life I have today, not because the world made it easy, but because I refused to let the world break me. There's a point in every man's life where he gets tested, everything goes wrong, the weight gets heavier, the options get fewer. That's the moment you find out who you really are. And if you fold there, you weren't ready. If you panic, if you complain, if you wait for someone to save you, you lose. But if you stand tall, if you stare down hell and move forward anyway, if you command your mind to keep pushing, that's when everything begins to change. That's when life starts to bend in your direction. Not immediately, not easily, but inevitably. You think motivation is something you need to chase? Motivation is created. It's built from wins, from the quiet victories no one sees, from every time you beat the voice in your head that says, it's okay to stop. It's not okay to stop. Not when you've still got breath in your lungs. Not when your name still echoes in your dreams. Not when the version of you you're supposed to be is still waiting for you on the other side of discipline. That's the battle. Every day, every hour, to get closer to him, to earn the right to look in the mirror and say, I became who I was meant to be. I'm not special. I'm just obsessed. obsessed with progress, obsessed with domination, obsessed with refusing to die average. And I'm telling you now, you can do it too. You can build a mind so strong it drowns out doubt, a body so prepared it intimidates fear, a life so focused that failure can't find a way in. But it starts when you stop waiting, when you stop hoping, when you start acting like every second matters. Because it does. You're running out of time. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. Most people live like they've got forever. They act like there's no clock ticking above their head. They delay everything, success, growth, discipline, as if they're guaranteed tomorrow. You're not. And that's the scariest truth most refuse to face. One day, you'll wake up and realize that all the things you said you'd do are gone. Opportunities fade. Time doesn't pause for indecision. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It moves forward. And if you don't keep up, it leaves you behind. You're either building or decaying. There's no pause button in life. Fear isn't your enemy. It's your compass. If something scares you, it means it matters. You think courage is the absence of fear? No, courage is moving forward despite fear. Every man who's built something great had to walk through fire while his mind screamed at him to turn back. The difference between winners and losers isn't comfort, it's that winners are willing to be uncomfortable. Comfort is the drug that kills ambition. People think fear is a signal to stop. I see it as a signal to go. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. If the path doesn't shake your bones, you're not playing at a level worth remembering. What terrifies me isn't failure, it's regret. It's the thought of being on my deathbed and realizing I never became what I could have been, that I lived a life safe, average, silent, that I had the tools, the time, the fire, and I wasted it on pleasure, on comfort, on weakness. That's the fear that keeps me sharp. Discipline now or regret forever. You don't want to live haunted by what you could have done. You don't want to carry the weight of potential you never activated. Potential means nothing if you never turn it into results. Look around you. Most people are sleepwalking through existence. They wake up, they scroll, they eat, they complain, they repeat. Years pass and they stay the same. No progress, no power, no purpose. That's not a life. That's a slow death. And the worst part, they think it's normal. They convince themselves that average is acceptable, that mediocrity is stability. But inside they're screaming. Their soul knows they're meant for more, but their actions betray that truth. Every day, you don't move forward, you move further from the man you're supposed to become. You don't have time to waste. Not a day, not an hour, not a second. Because there's someone out there grinding harder than you. Someone who's hungrier, more focused, more obsessed. And while you're thinking, he's doing. While you're doubting, he's dominating. And when it's time to compete, you'll lose, not because he's better, but because he prepared while you hesitated. Life rewards action, not intention. You can dream all day, but if you don't put in the work, those dreams will become your prison. There's a storm coming whether you're ready or not. Bills will pile up, responsibilities will double, life will test you in ways you can't imagine. And if you're not mentally and physically prepared, you'll break. That's the truth nobody wants to admit. Strength isn't optional anymore, it's survival. Build a mind that can't be broken and a body that doesn't flinch. When things go wrong, and they will, you won't have time to start becoming strong. You'll either be ready or you'll collapse. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Stop waiting to feel motivated. That's a trap. You think top performers feel inspired every day? No. They move through resistance. They act in spite of doubt. That's the difference. That's mindset. You win by being consistent when motivation dies. You win by showing up when it hurts. You win by doing what others refuse to do, not just once, but every single day. The sex isn't found in feelings, it's built in discipline. No one is coming to save you. No miracle, no shortcut, just you, your will, and the grind in front of you. You're not too young, you're not too old, you're not too late, you're just too slow. And the world doesn't wait for slow men, it devours them. It chews up the indecisive and elevates the obsessed. So ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Failure, embarrassment, judgment? None of that matters. Because the real pain is staying the same. The real nightmare is waking up 5 years from now and hating the man in the mirror because you never took the shot. Action ends anxiety, discipline ends doubt. You're not trapped, you're just choosing safety over greatness. And there's a reason most people never make it. It's not because they lack talent. It's because they lack urgency. They think they have time. They think they can wait. But every second they delay, their dream dies a little more. That vision fades. That fire dims until one day it's gone. And by then it's too late. You either sacrifice now or you suffer later. There's no in between. You either pay the price in discipline or pay the penalty in regret. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep watching others rise while you scroll through distractions? Or are you finally going to wake up? You've got one life, one shot, one window. The window is closing every day and the world doesn't care, but you should. Because your legacy is at stake, your name, your story, your soul. You have everything you need, breath, time, strength. What you don't have is forever. Now, the difference between men who rise and men who rot isn't luck, it's mindset. The man who gets up and dominates his life every single day has made a silent, brutal pact with himself. He doesn't need to feel good. He doesn't need praise. He doesn't even need a reason. He wakes up and moves forward because he's built to. Because he's chosen to become the kind of man who acts regardless of how he feels. Discipline isn't a mood, it's a code. You either live by it or get crushed by men who do. The world doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care about your feelings. The world respects action, results, ruthless consistency, and you either live in that reality or lie to yourself forever. You know why most men stay weak? Because they've accepted comfort as their God. They chase pleasure, validation, and ease like it's oxygen. But comfort doesn't make kings. Suffering does. Pressure does. The pain of staying disciplined when your body screams to stop, that's where character is built. You want to be powerful? Learn to suffer in silence and keep going. No applause, no support, just you. The voice that tells you to quit. Every time you ignore that voice and keep pushing, you take one step closer to becoming untouchable. And one day, the man who started with nothing becomes the man no one can stop. Success doesn't fall in your lap. It's forged in war. A war with your old self, a war with your distractions, a war with your excuses. Every day, you're in the trenches. And most people lose because they don't even realize they're in a fight. They scroll, complain, and hope things get better. But hoping is for the hopeless. You want change? You become the change. You rip the laziness out of your system and replace it with ritual. You turn your goals into obsessions. You make your schedule non-negotiable. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. Raise them, live them, enforce them, because nobody's coming to force you to become the man you're meant to be. Every win you want is sitting on the other side of the work you keep avoiding. It's not about how badly you want it. It's about how hard you're willing to bleed for it. You think success is supposed to feel good. You think greatness is comfortable. The road to becoming unstoppable is paved with repetition, sacrifice, and pain. But the beauty is this. Once you've suffered long enough, it stops hurting. You stop breaking, you start building. And eventually, pain becomes your partner. Struggle becomes your home. A man who makes peace with pain becomes dangerous because he's no longer ruled by fear. He becomes the storm. People talk about motivation like it's a gift, like it magically arrives. But true motivation is earned. It's created in motion. You want to feel motivated? Get up at 5 a.m. Train like your life depends on it and build momentum. Momentum is your ally. Momentum destroys doubt. When you stack wins, even small ones, your brain stops asking if you're capable and starts realizing you're inevitable. You build confidence through conquest, not comfort. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need perfect conditions. You need movement. Movement creates belief. Belief creates power. Power creates results. It all starts when you stop thinking and act. You can't lead a strong life with a weak mind. If your thoughts aren't under your control, then you aren't in control. Most men are prisoners in their own heads, ruled by fear, hesitation, distraction. But the man who rules his mind rules his world. He doesn't entertain weakness. He doesn't argue with fear. He hears it and moves anyway. Your mind must be stronger than your feelings. You have to rewire yourself every day to think like a champion, not a victim. That means doing the hard things even when the easy things are begging for your attention. That means choosing growth over gratification. That means staring down your weaknesses and grinding until they turn into weapons. You will be tested. Life will punch you in the mouth when you least expect it. You'll lose friends, you'll lose money, you'll lose battles. But if you've built the right mindset, you'll never lose yourself. You'll absorb the hits and keep walking. Because real strength isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. Resilience isn't talent, it's choice. And every day, you get to choose whether you rise or retreat. Whether you show up as a weapon or a whisper. Whether you conquer or crumble. Most people collapse at the first sign of hardship. Winners look hardship in the face and smirk. You want freedom? Build it. You want power? Earn it. You want respect? Command it. And you do that by becoming the most disciplined, focused, unshakable version of yourself day after day after day. Not because someone's watching, not because you're in the mood, but because you burn the bridge behind you and given yourself no option but to win. The man with no backup plan always moves different. He doesn't dabble, he devours. He doesn't wait, he takes. He doesn't hope, he hunts. You must become that man. And once you do, life bends in your favor. Not because it's easy, but because you've become strong enough to dominate it. This is the moment where men get separated from boys. Right here. Right now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when you've had enough sleep or when someone claps for you. It's now. Because the man who changes his life doesn't wait for life to change. He doesn't beg for chances. He creates them. He doesn't ask for direction. He becomes direction. You've spent enough time fantasizing, enough time blaming, enough time explaining why you can't. There's a reason the top 1% are untouchable. Because they don't think like the 99%. They act when others hesitate. They move when others overthink. They do, not dream. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you are willing to become. You keep asking what the secret is. You keep searching for motivation like it's a missing ingredient. Let me give it to you straight. No one's coming to motivate you. No one's coming to push you. No one's going to hand you success wrapped in silk. The secret is this. You are the answer. It's you versus your old self every single day. You versus your patterns. You versus your fears. You win that war, everything else falls in line. Discipline is remembering what you want even when everything else tries to make you forget. That's the war. And every second you hesitate is a second you're losing ground to the version of yourself who doesn't make excuses. Stop pretending like you have unlimited time. You don't. The clock is ticking, and it doesn't care how talented you are. It rewards only those who use it with lethal focus. Most people live like they've got 1,000 years left, lying to themselves, wasting time, scrolling, complaining, numbing their potential, one distraction at a time. But you're not here for average. You're not here to fit in. You're not here to blend with the sea of weak, distracted men begging for comfort. You're here to dominate, to create a legacy, to carve your name into the world with sweat and steel and unshakable willpower. You don't escape mediocrity by doing what average people do. You escape by becoming the man they fear becoming. Now, there's another version of you, a stronger, faster, wealthier, sharper version, and he's not that far away, but you'll never meet him unless you suffer, unless you sacrifice, unless you train, build, learn, execute, and repeat until your soul evolves. You want to feel powerful? Earn that feeling through effort. You want respect? Command it by building something undeniable. Wake up early, meet it. Move with urgency, master your mind, sharpen your skills, become a savage in every domain, because when you're dangerous everywhere, you never have to beg anywhere. The world bows to the man who refuses to kneel. Forget waiting for the perfect moment. That's a lie weak people tell themselves. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment, and this moment is enough. If you have a brain, a body, and breath in your lungs, you have all the tools you need. You don't need more time, you need more fire. You don't need more advice, you need more execution. You don't need more support, you need more self-respect. Do it for the man you promised yourself you become. Do it because regret will haunt you louder than failure ever could. You either suffer the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret forever. This life is not for spectators, it's for warriors, for men who move with intent, build without applause, and endure without praise. If you want to win, start acting like someone who deserves to. Stop watching other men live your dreams. Stop admiring the grind from the sidelines while you rot in comfort. Your future is your responsibility. Your strength is your responsibility. Your freedom is your responsibility. Nobody's going to build it for you, and they shouldn't, because that power belongs in your hands. No one's coming to save you because you were never supposed to be saved. You were meant to rise. So this is your moment. Not in a week, not after motivation hits, not when you feel brave. Now. Choose greatness, choose pain, choose progress. And once you choose it, protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your legacy depends on it. Your mind, your money, your meaning, all of it is shaped by the decision you make today.